again. Here's how we do.
We're just talking about shop teachers in here. Every shop teacher I ever had, and Fafafui ever had, and all the guys in here ever had, all were missing digits.
Really?
Yeah, they were always missing a chunk of their finger.
Well, that was a good ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for pinky.
And then they would tell you, go work the lathe. You never had to take shop, right?
No.
I assume, because girls didn't
I
have
went
to
to an
take it.
all-girls school, number one. We didn't have a shop.
Yeah, I don't know why guys only have to take shop, because shop is the most sadistic class in your school. I had a shop teacher that used to, I mean, it was bad enough I was in Roosevelt and it was an all-black school and the black kids were hostile to me. And I don't know
Well,
that.
I guess they did have that in junior high school, too, yeah.
Yeah. But this guy used to stand there and throw erasers at us, like big giant erasers, and just chuck them at our heads.
For what reason?
Well, the kids were really out of control. I had kids in my shop class. I mean, when I was in 9th grade, these guys were 18, 19 years old. I'm being
They
serious.
should have been working.
Yeah, they should have. These were guys with full facial hair and, full genitals.
They should have had jobs.
Yeah, and they would pull their pants down in the middle of class and fondle their genitals.
Check this
Well, you do that here. So.
Yeah, well, but this is my job.
Yeah. In high school, I didn't take shop classes, but the shop teacher in our high school was like notorious. He called black guys spear chuckers
Really?
to their faces in front of the other class.
He wouldn't have done that in Roosevelt.
Oh man!
Well, yeah, he was on a practically all-white school. With
Yeah.
that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. He
It
was just-
wasn't?
Really?
And everybody loved him, including them. But he was out of control.
Everybody loved him.
They did. I swear to God.
The black kids loved him.
Jackie again, right on target. Like that.
swear-
How many, was he missing a finger? Mine was missing
No,
a
he
finger.
was missing his arms. They got him.
No, really, seriously, was yours missing a finger?
Well, he wasn't missing a finger, but he had a thing where he had cut his middle finger on the table saw, and it had grown back in a weird way, so he could stick a quarter in it and put his hand upside down and shake it around, and the quarter wouldn't fall out.
Oh, he had
Yeah.
a groove in his
He had a
hand.
groove in his finger.
Yeah,
All
and
guy
then
in grammar school had half a pinky.
I was always shocked that they want you working a lathe and stuff. I mean, you can really lose fingers and hands and stuff.
But you're absolutely right. Shop class was dangerous, and you know why?
Because
it was a big spread out room,
And
and,
it was-
the machinery made it hard for the teacher to hear. Like if you're getting your ass kicked in the back, there's a table saw going on.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a real class where you sat at a desk. You actually moved around. So as soon as you're moving around, kids think they can just beat everyone up. Because I got choked. In Roosevelt, there was this big black guy named Irvin. Not Irving, Irvin.
Yeah.
I-R-V.
Well, that's Magic Johnson's name is Irvin.
Yeah, I had never heard that name in my life, and this guy's name was Irvin. And I can't imagine that there's like two guys with that name. Irvin. What?
Irvin.
Yeah, it was E-R-V-I-N, actually.
E-A.
Yeah, yeah.
Irvin.
And this guy Irvin used to beat me up all the time in Roosevelt. He used to beat up me and a guy named Carlos. I remember it. And Carlos was white, even though he had a Spanish name.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know he beat up Carlos. I only found out after I had my mom report Irvin to the dean of boys. And then Irvin came and said, you reported me. He had to figure out if it was me or Carlos who had reported him.
Right.
So he shook us down, because he shook us down for money every day. And I hope he's in jail now, but he took
Because
me.
he could come after you.
Yeah, right. And this guy Irvin was about 6'3".
Uh-huh. How
He
tall
had
were you
full.
then?
I was probably about 9th grade. I was probably about 5'7". I don't know. I wasn't that big.
You weren't tall yet.
Yeah, it was not the tall, gawky Howard Stern you know today and love. So this guy comes and he says he had to figure out which one of us. Now, it was my mom who reported him. Because I said to my mother, I can't
He's
take
still
it.
sitting there trying to figure it out.
So he took me, he grabbed me from behind and started choking me. This is the guy.
Yeah.
And he starts choking me and he goes, okay, in about a minute, you going to pass out from lack of oxygen. And
You better tell me.
so you tell me, man, did you report me to Mr. Heck? So
Lack of oxygen, like
was
he
just
could say that.
Yeah, he wasn't even like, you going to be dead. He would just say, you going to be dead. So he started
knew the
choking. Yeah.
scientific reason why.
Yeah, so he was explaining science. Well, I was learning science in the class. So anyway, he starts squeezing my neck, and like right around by the Adam's apple stuff, he's just squeezing it. And I'm trying to like just your reaction is to grab from behind, but
That doesn't do a thing.
doesn't matter. I'm blacking out. I'm starting to black out. And I'm losing consciousness. And he goes, "Did you? I'm asking you one last time. Was that your mama who called me Mr. Egg?" So I go, "No, I swear it was. I don't even know what you're talking about." Thank God, because I almost confessed.
Ah, bad move.
Yeah, but I didn't. And then he lets go and he goes, "Now I know who done it." Carlos.
Oh, so
And he
that
pummeled the
you
crap.
got the other guy
Oh,
beat
yeah.
up.
Yeah, that guy Carlos. And I never saw him in school again.
Oh.
Never. He got his ass beat. He must have confessed. Even though he didn't do it. I didn't hear about a funeral, so I think he's alive, but this guy Carlos.
Yeah, why would you confess? The guy's already said he's going to
Yeah.
kill you if you're the person.
And he would have killed me.
And why would you say yes? Obviously, you're not
Yeah.
going to say yes.
You don't know what to do.
That's a bad scene, man. I got beat up so...
And mind you, this is going on in a shop class with the guy watching. The shop teacher was watching. Was watching. Saw
wait
the
a
whole
minute.
thing.
Wait a
Saw
minute.
the whole thing.
The whole class was
He was
watching?
he was a scared white man. And I don't blame
The
him.
whole class was watching, though?
Well, I was in the back. No, a lot of the class doesn't pay attention. You got to understand something. There's constant fighting going on in these classes. There's no way for me to describe what Roosevelt, Long Island is like. It's just constant warfare. There are guys in corners smoking pot, life. I mean, I was in 9th grade. I'd never even heard of pot.
No, I'm talking about master.
No, I swear, this was a guy. There was a guy who came in. I don't know his name.
And nobody
He looked
in
a
this
lot like
school-
Flavor Flav. He was kind of like a jokey kind of guy.
Yeah.
But you could tell he could beat the crap out of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the guy comes into the class and pulls his pants down because this guy was huge. I
How
never
come
seen.
I never hear about people dying at Roosevelt High School?
Oh, people die.
But they
You
don't
read
even
about it in the
report
paper.
it?
You read Newsday. You could take the last year's worth of Newsday, count up the dead people. What are you talking about?
There's a
Happens all
lot
the
that
time.
goes on there, Robert. There's a lot.
It's real bad.
That's
in
so
fact,
sad.
it's so common
It's so
now.
common. It's
that
like
it doesn't get reported.
No.
It doesn't even get on.
it's a little box.
Like on Newsday, it's not even on the regular page. It's like exactly. It's like a lot of little boxes in
Yeah.
Roosevelt. The man was
I read
shot.
it every day. I read it every day because I'm on the lookout for it. I love to read about it. I like
You
to
like
see.
to read about your old schoolmates.
Yeah, I like to see if I know anybody. I like to see if it's Wyandanch. Wyandanch is another really bad black neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, I like to see where more murders are committed and all that kind of stuff.
Believe me, Robin, the headline would be if nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. You would see like, wow, today nothing happened
Nothing
in Roosevelt.
happened in Roosevelt.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's a Newsday. It's a local Long Island occurrence.
yeah.
And everyone just ignores it and hopes it goes away.
I mean, why wouldn't you close that school down? Why wouldn't you get Joe Green? Why wouldn't you do something?
No, they
if
should
that
declare. Oh, they should. You mean Joe Clark?
Joe Clark,
They should
yeah.
get Mean Joe Green and Joe Clark to go in there and take care of the whole damn town.
Really, just get a couple of baseball bats and clean up,
We should declare it a foreign country like Haiti
and then invade.
and invade and civilize it. It is out of
Have
control.
troops there
It is
in
not a
this
civilized. It is not a civilized area.
That is sad.
Have you been looking through your mail lately?
Yeah, I got a letter from a woman from Roosevelt who told me not to make fun of it.
Well, did you see the other letter you got?
No.
They wanted you to come and help them reopen the library in Roosevelt. They
Are you
wanted-
serious?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
Somebody
And cut the
boarded
ribbon?
it up.
Let me tell you something. No one goes to that library.
Well, no, they put a lot of money into it
Good,
now.
good.
Oh,
It's
come on,
completely
Howard.
Oh.
Howard, you gotta go.
No, and number
Come
two, no
on.
way.
Oh,
Let me tell you something,
Howard.
Robin. I made a vow when my parents
you'd
finally
never
took
go
out in 9th
back.
grade that I would never go
Take
back.
me. I want to see.
You're safe there, not me.
Oh, I am?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
They didn't beat up black people at Roosevelt.
All they're
Who are
going to
they
do is
killing
pull your
now?
pants down and have some sex with you.
Right, that's exactly
Big
what
deal.
I want to have
You'll
happen.
probably love it.
Yes, yeah, sure. Come on, take me back.
And why did they have to close the library down in the first place?
Needed some refurbishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have any books.
Fire.
Yeah. And all the stores are burned down. Either the owners burned them down because they can't make a go of it.
Does Hempstead Avenue run through there?
No.
No, it's called Nassau Road.
What is that? What does Hempstead Avenue run through?
Hempstead.
Hempstead used
Is
to...
that bad too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
'Cause I
But
noticed
Hempstead...
that a lot of boarded up stuff there.
But Hempstead's a party. I call Hempstead Africa. Hempstead Africa is a party next to Roosevelt.
Really?
Hempstead is like a nice place compared to
Hempstead
Roosevelt.
still has businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
But they'll be gone
But it
soon.
still looks kind of.
but Howard's right because on Nassau Road, there's like all boarded up movie theaters, and there used to be an A&P.
There was this A&P, and every week it burned down. Someone would buy it and not make a go of it and burn down. So now there's like no supermarket. So I don't know where the black people shop. They must have to go into Uniondale or something.
Right, well,
Where do the
on-
black people shop?
Right on Nassau Road, right on the Uniondale Roosevelt border, they just built this whole new complex.
Oh, really?
You know, it's brand new, but you could tell.
It's
gonna be a mess.
already getting a little wear and tear.
And wait till they used to have a place called the Roosevelt Diner, which was really cool. I used to go there and get French fries in a bag and pour ketchup. And it was just like a really cool place to hang out. And then then
That
like
went too.
all the windows started getting blown out, and it was like being in Beirut. And my parents like living there.
They didn't know?
They
didn't
no,
know
everything's
that.
fine. My father, I paid $14,000 for this house. It's almost paid off. I got to move to somewhere like Rockville Center, pay $50,000 for a house. What are you, crazy? Shut up, you moron.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild, but there's this place, there's Nassau Road. That's where the big town is. But
Yeah.
And then I told you the movie theater. I used to go to the movies every Saturday at the Roosevelt Movie Theater.
Right.
So one day I'm there, and I thought a milk dud flew by my head. It was a bullet. The kids were shooting bullets
Stop it. How old
through
were
the
you
screen.
then?
I was about 7th grade.
They were ahead of their time.
Yeah. So they shot up the screen, and what it is, screens are really expensive. You don't realize what a movie theater screen is. That's their biggest expense. It's evidently, it's got to be hung the right
So
way, and it's a
just
whole
so,
thing.
huh?
Yeah, it's what is it? Silver Flakes?
I think it's Silver Flakes.
Yeah.
That's what makes it Silver Flakes.
So they finally said to everyone, they made an announcement, look, we're going to have to close down the movie theater if the kids keep shooting the screen.
And they said, we'll close it down.
And, well, they did.
Yeah.
They replaced the screen about 100 times and they gave up.
Does the screen have like holes in it and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, you'd be sitting there watching.
You could miss whole thing,
and a
whole
guy's
scene.
Yeah, a guy's head would be blown off. It was just unbelievable. But at least they were shooting the screen and not the people. Back then, everyone was a little more.
Yeah, they
mellow.
were pointing that away instead of
Yeah.
this away.
A lot of times it was BB guns and stuff, but who cared? I mean, it was guns.
When I was in college,
And the kids loved the movies. They loved the movies. Blacks love movies.
Then why would they shoot up the screen?
They get excited. They start to. I don't know. They get so. You I didn't see what was going on in there.
They used to throw chocolate at the screen where I'm from.
Yeah, a lot of the kids couldn't sit through through the movie. They would get crazy and have to fire off some guns. This is in 7th grade, and I was in 7th grade, 100 years ago.
The truth of it is, I think I remember throwing candy at the screen, and I can't remember why. And I guess shooting at the screen is just like the next logical.
Well, I don't know. That's a big leap.
step.
Big retard.
Throwing chocolate at the screen.
Jackie throwing chocolate at the screen.
No, jujubes.
everything.
Jackie, you might be black.
Oh, that's a black thing. It's not a stupid thing. It's a black
Take that.
So anyway, it was pretty wild being the one white kid in that. Actually, there were
You
about 4.
were the one white.
There were 4
Stop
white
making
kids.
yourself out to be
No,
more
you're
of a
right.
hero than you are.
There were 4 white kids. I confess.
And the shop teacher.
It was me and a guy named Mark
Yeah.
and Dennis Accavelli.
And how long were you there really when
And
it was
one
down
Polak.
to that many whites? How many years were you there when it was only
So down to 4 whites 1 year.
whites?
That was the
That's
year that I had to get out.
See?
Oh, excuse me. The previous 2 years, I was one of 20. Yeah, it wasn't much better. I told you about the time they offered, all the blacks went crazy and wanted black studies.
Yeah.
So I signed up for it, thinking like maybe they'll take it easy on me if I'm racially sensitive.
Yes.
And we get in there, it was all 5 white kids had signed up for the class, and there wasn't one black guy taking
They all
black
had the
studies.
same strategy?
Yeah, they all had the same strategy. It was a bunch of, and they canceled black studies. That was the end of it.
Maybe I'll learn their habits.
Yeah. I just thought it would be kind of cool, like maybe everyone would mellow out if they saw that I was racially sensitive, which I wasn't anyway because I was living there.
Hi, give
No,
me
you weren't
5.
racially
I didn't have to be living there.
sensitive.
No,
Your
I was.
parents stuck you there.
Be
Hello,
quiet.
bud.
You
Yo,
Mr.
homely.
Racially sensitive.
I didn't talk like that, yo, blood. I talked like a black guy. I don't, hey, man, come on, Ivan, don't do that to me, man. That's how I talked for 3 years.
That's why they beat you.
They
up.
hate that more than anything.
No, they don't. Everybody talks, they talk like that, and they're not from the South.
So you were the original wigger?
Yep.
Hey, man, see you in
know?
Temple.
No,
I
he
was such a
wasn't.
wigger.
He didn't
Wrong.
dress the way they did.
I was such a
'cause
wigger.
His parents wouldn't let him.
I was such a wigger that, I mean, I handed down, I can't even do it no more. Man, come on, man, I didn't tell Mr. Egg about you.
If
And it was
he
just
had
like,
ever done it, he'd be able to do it.
I swear, come on. Well, in fact, when you first met me, remember how good a black impression I used to do? It's like wearing off now. I was the wigger. And you went to Uniondale. Didn't you start talking black?
Well, you do.
I had it just out of self-defense
Only
because
when you're
everyone
around
took
black guys, you start talking because you feel like,
Like
they like you.
I was in a class and the teacher couldn't calm the kids down, so she said, "We're gonna have
It's
music."
like going to France. You speak French.
Right. She said, "You're gonna have Music Appreciation Day because none of the kids could calm down in class. Everyone bring in their favorite record." So stupid asked me. All the kids had brought in like Motown, Diana Ross
Or
and
Otis
Temptations,
Redding
Otis
and
Redding.
Wilson Pickett.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
I get in there. I just discovered Sgt. Pepper's that summer. And I get up and I go,
Correct. Obviously, it
I'm
can't.
like, well, man, I found this really good record, and they talk like this. And I said, it was a really good record. And this here, Sergeant Pepper Lonely Heart Club Band. And you had to stand up in front of the class and put it.
Put the needle on?
Yeah, meanwhile, your hand is shaking. You put your hand on on the record. You can't even cue up the damn record. And then I start playing, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart. I thought they were going to kill me. Everyone started booing. And then I learned that I bring in, like, Motown, which I did. Hey, man, I really did, because I felt self-conscious bringing in a Motown record. I really wasn't into Motown. I was into the Beatles.
And it might seem patronizing.
Yeah, right. So, I was
Why
sensitive
couldn't
to
you
that.
stand up there and stand up for what you believe?
Oh.
This was the music you liked.
Man, I discovered the Beatles, and you had to talk like this,
Oh, stop
No, that's
it.
how you talk, man. That's how you talk, like this.
They were beating you anyway. You might as well talk like a
Yeah,
white
but you try to
person.
fit in. Like, even in class, when the teacher would call on you, it was cool to be, like, really stupid. Because if you acted like you knew the answer, all the kids would goof on you. So I'd be like, hey, man, I don't know what that is. That's how you got to talk like that. You have to talk
Say
stupid.
what?
Yeah, say what, man? No one said say what back then, though. That wasn't the expression.
Oh, that was
No.
before.
That was Jackie's expression.
Yeah. Say what? But it was weird. It was weird. And I remember, like, when I'd see white kids, I'd talk white, and then I would talk black when I was in school. Hey, man. Hey, man, how you doing? How you doing, man? Hey, Irvin, come on, man. Come on, man. I gotta eat my lunch, too.
How come we can't find this Irvin? You know, we've looked for him a number of times.
I know. I don't know his last name.
You are lying, I think. I
But
think
why would I lie to you? How could you make that up?
because you read it in a book, just like that Vietnam stuff.
There's a lot of guys. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
No. This is my personal Vietnam. There's another guy who beat me up. But I don't know if I want to say his full name. His
Well, you
name is
have-
Ronald. But have I said his full name?
No, I think you're talking about Zany.
No, Zany Evans
Zany
never beat me up.
Evans, we
Oh,
know.
no.
He was just wild. There was a guy who used to beat me up named Ronald Nipper. I guess it's okay to say his name. Yeah, why not? He
Yeah,
used
what
to
are
beat
you
me up.
doing? If he beat you up, he beat you
I just
up.
don't really want to run into him again. He used to beat me up a lot.
We can't find these people.
Did I ever tell you
He's the
that?
guy who used to steal my salad. Like if I got by him by lunch money, he'd come over and just take his hand.
But wouldn't you like to ask them what the hell they were beating on you for?
I know why they were beating on me. They just
But I mean, just to hear them say it,
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah.
was it?
Well,
Why'd
find
you pick
'em.
on me?
Well, why don't you go undercover and find these guys?
Did I ever tell you that I got beat up in 9th grade so bad that I had to get stitches and I got beat up in front of the entire school?
Oh.
Look,
The
was
teachers too?
Yeah, it was at an assembly.
Oh,
I got
Right.
beat up at an assembly. So the whole school was assembled.
And did the teacher stop it?
Yeah, I bled all over. I almost got my nose broken. I ended up getting 5 stitches over my eye, but I bled all
Black
over.
guys?
No, one black guy.
Right.
I ended up bleeding.
Oh, Jesus.
I ended up. You know what he did? I ended up bleeding.
Black guys can fight, man. Oh, can they fight?
I ended up-
God
One
bless them.
black guy was like a gang on gang.
It is, though. You know what?
You know what
Listen, I fought a lot of black guys. And when I say I fought, I hardly put up
Howard,
a fight.
it's not like you're a great boxer
Right.
or anything, though.
These guys were like professional boxers. They could move so fast. I used to see guys coming at me like this. I swear to God, they'd come up and they were so wiry and everything. They just go, pow, pow, pow. Just all of a sudden, it would be like, whoa, I just took 3 hits to the head.
He's right. They,
Box like that.
they were all
And
Sugar
when
Ray
they-
Leonard. They
And,
really were.
and they didn't. They fought each other, and then they'd get a hold of you and fight you.
I'll tell you, Robin, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was, you know those
You
Nasty
look like I don't
lightning.
know black people.
You know, we have to teach you.
you know those lunchroom tables that come out of the wall?
So what happened when you got beat up?
Okay, you know those lunchroom tables that come out of the wall?
Yeah.
I was sitting at one of those, and the guy that beat me up had been in the school for a week. He came from the city or from Queens or somewhere.
Yeah.
He was new to the school. So we were watching this movie in assembly, and I'm tapping my pen, and he said, hey, stop tapping
Hey
your
man,
pen.
stop tapping your pen, man.
And I said, I ignored him, and then he called me a name, and I called him a name, and he called me a name. And
Oh,
then,
you fought back.
No,
You said said names back. You're a jackass. You never say anything
so then,
back.
so that was like it, right? So then I just put my head down. We're watching the movie, so I put my head down.
Kick your ass.
And he came up from behind. I was in one of those things you couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
So he started punching me from behind, and then he took my head. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. He took my head and he started smashing it against one of those lunchroom tables.
Oh, man.
So I ended up getting stitches in the eye, but my
Now, let me ask you something. Like, and what happens to the kid who does this? Nothing, right?
we both got suspended for 2 days.
You got suspended.
Yeah, for you
You know why?
running
Because
into his fist.
they were afraid to suspend the
I
black
never-
guy
you
without
know what?
suspending the white guy.
I never threw a punch because I just never got out of the chair. You know what I mean?
And they
But-
suspended you.
But they actually what they did is
Nowadays, parents are smart. They just sue the damn family. They sue the school. They sue everybody.
I'll tell you what happened.
I could have been a millionaire.
The principal of the school came over to my
millionaire.
house.
For the amount of beatings I took, I could have sued
Where
Roosevelt.
were they going to get the money?
Roosevelt's
You'd
public
have been
schools.
owed the money.
Well, I could have been owed money at least. I would have theoretically on paper been a millionaire.
The principal of the school came over to my house and said, "You're not suspended, but we'd like it if you stayed home for 2 or 3 days because we don't want a race riot." That's
Right.
what he said. It was
To make it look good.
Because it was like the school was like 50-50. They didn't want to turn it into a whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
God
bled all,
forbid. God forbid common sense should rule.
the music teacher, you know,
Yeah.
the music teacher is the one who ended up getting over there, and my nose was like bleeding like crazy. I thought it was broken, and I bled all over this guy's suit. I mean, people said like I don't remember.
Were
it 'cause
you
I
like
I was
punch drunk
I
and
was
dizzy?
but they said there was blood all. You know, the janitor yelled at me when I came back.
See, I would have taken
Blood
that
everywhere.
guy. I would have taken that guy if it was, if I was the governor. I'd have him executed because he is worthless.
But he was one of those guys that was like he was so much
So
bigger
you still
than
had
ninth
to
graders.
go to school with him every day.
Well, my eye.
Oh yeah, that's why schools suck.
Ugh.
My eye closed and changed colors like in Rocky. It was like purple one day and then yellow. It
Yeah.
literally closed. And I had to go back to school with one eye.
And I'll tell you something. That's why I said to my mother, "How the hell can you be doing this to me? Are you out of your friggin' bird? Why do you put me
Well,
through
what did
hell?"
your parents do when you came home?
Well, his parents had no money.
No. We ended up. My mother was freaking out because she had to come to get me at the school so she could bring me at the hospital because the school doesn't want to start stitching you up or anything. They don't want to be responsible. So they
Right.
said, "Come and get your kid really quick and take him to the hospital." So I went to the hospital and I got stitches, and then myself and my father and the other guy and his father had a meeting with the principal, and the other guy's father was very like belligerent and
Yeah.
very, you know.
What do you say, my son?
He was angry at me because, of course.
Hey, man, he started.
So it was
You
just.
can't argue with that logic. What is it, Stuttering John? What are you waiting for?
Oh, we got a black woman on the phone who's upset with you promoting racism.
Oh, I'm promoting racism.
Well, then
Hey, I
wanna
live
see how
this.
she got to that point.
Darling, how did you get to that point that I'm promoting racism?
Hello?
Yeah.
Howard, listen, I listen to you. I'm your biggest fan, but
No, you're not.
you really need to stop. You really
Oh,
do. Because-
please.
No, first of all, wait. What was that statement that somebody talks black and talks white? And then you're doing
You
your,
don't know
like,
what that means?
No,
You've
then
never
you're
heard
doing
that
your
before?
Amos and Andy impression.
Hey, that's how I talked in
No.
Roosevelt.
I have a brother who just graduated Cornell Law. He does not talk
Yeah,
black,
he doesn't,
okay?
but go to Roosevelt. Everyone talks that way.
No, well, no. See, that's an economic and a cultural thing.
Oh,
Just
I'll
because
explain
you and
that.
Boy Gary were raised in poor neighborhoods, and that's truly the root of your problem, does not mean there are blacks out there who don't
Darling,
talk,
I am
quote,
sure
unquote,
there are,
black.
but I didn't grow up with them.
Well, that is it's an economic...
When
and
I
it's a
went to,
cultural-
when I lived in Roosevelt, I had to talk that way.
No,
That's the way
no,
everyone
He
you don't.
talks.
didn't have to talk that way. That's the way he chose to talk.
That's the way
Right.
you chose to talk because that's the way you had to survive. But believe me, I'm sure that there were blacks who held their head high and who could afford to get out of that neighborhood, even though your
Yeah,
parents
so
couldn't.
tell me something I don't know. Oh, you're so silly.
But you...
Oh, I'm not going to listen to that. She just interrupted a great conversation with a dumb comment.
So anyway, the end of the story was I stayed home from school for 3 days.
It's like Oprah. You see Oprah on her TV show? She gets an all-black audience there right away. She's like, honey child,
Girlfriend.
girlfriend. Let's look at Dionne Warwick. Girlfriend. All of a sudden, when she's on that stupid show, that psychic show, she should be in jail for that show. That's got to be illegal.
Hey, she's not putting a gun to anybody's head.
They should lock her up. You know, man, you're taking advantage of dopes. Honey, I just got a prediction. My next album gonna go gold.
Oh, how was the reading?
Every time I see that Psychic Friends Network, I draw bars on my set. Pretend what it'd be like to see Dionne Warwick behind bars. That the FCC don't look into.
Well, you know, she's moving to Brazil, I hear.
Good.
With all the money, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why they don't have extradition laws.
Yeah. I guess it's not illegal to get into psychic readings.
$3.99 a minute.
We ought to take a break and do the news. I don't know. Anyway, so much for shop teachers. Hey, I saw Burt Reynolds on... Well, I'll tell you this in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a break and do the news next.
You're listening. Howard Stern Show. Here's Howard.
I was reading in the paper today. I don't know if you're hitting this in the news, and you'll probably go into further detail, but they said in the paper today that Burt Reynolds was bankrupt. Did you
I
see that?
don't understand that.
Yeah. Now, Gary's telling me John Travolta has 3 airplanes.
Yeah.
Wait a second. 4 homes and drives a Rolls Royce. He lives a billionaire's lifestyle, John Travolta.
And how many movies has he made?
Saturday Night Fever, which he probably didn't get paid a lot of money for.
Right, because he was still a sweat hog.
Yeah, and I mean, in Welcome Back, Kotter, they don't pay you that much money.
Right. And he probably doesn't, it wasn't back in the days when you got those great residual
Somebody told me
situations either.
Somebody told me the story on John Travolta was that he had some smart businessman or something, or he's a real smart businessman, and negotiated for each of his movies to get a piece of the soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah, so if Saturday Night Fever was one of the biggest soundtracks
Ever.
and Urban Cowboy, he always got a hunk of that.
Wow.
So, who knows?
But still, Burt Reynolds was number one at the box office
Yeah.
for several years in a row, made 50 billion movies,
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
and he's always complaining about money.
Yeah, they're saying he doesn't have any money left.
Yesterday, did you watch him on Phil Donahue?
Yeah.
He's sitting there, and somebody asked him about some bombs he made, some turkeys, some real turkeys he made. And he said, I really needed the money at that time.
Yeah. I guess
This guy must have just thrown the money out the window.
maybe he spent it all on his hair, but it didn't even look like he did that. His money went out with his hair.
But you look at it, there's a lot of guys out there like that. I mean, Warren Beatty hasn't made that many films, and he doesn't seem to be crying about money all
Yeah.
the time.
I don't know. I don't know what
Bert
Bert's story.
just threw the money away, or he just didn't get paid for what he did.
I don't know. I got a feeling he got paid. I just got a feeling he...
Wasn't he the number one box office attraction for
Yeah.
a couple of years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was. It's weird. It's weird.
He had to be making more money than anybody in Hollywood for several years.
Yeah.
So I don't
If
understand
Lonnie
what his...
Anderson disappeared, he'd be rich again.
Nah, Lonnie
Right.
Anderson supposedly didn't even get that much money.
Maybe he thinks Billy's trying to say that she was trying to get more or something. I don't know.
Oh, you think that he's hiding? Yeah, she is asking for a lot of money, and
Lotto money.
yeah, so maybe they're trying to paint him as a poor guy.
But they showed a picture of his ranch down in Florida, or whatever that thing is called.
Jupiter 2.
Jupiter.
And it's got a river running through it, it looks like.
Oh, really?
With
It's a real mess?
lambs roaming around.
Oh, you mean it's nice or bad?
Oh, it's huge
Oh.
and beautiful.
Oh. Yeah,
That's
but-
why I'm like,
but
why
it's on
am
Jupiter.
I worried about his money problems?
Yeah, I'm not
Look at
worried.
where he lives.
Personally, I think it'd be funny to see a bankrupt Burt Reynolds. Walking the streets with his hand out. That would be kind of cool. All of a sudden, he wouldn't be so...
Can't afford a haircut, so his real hair starts growing from underneath
Yeah.
the hair.
I think his definition of being out of money is a lot different.
Yeah, like he's only down to 17 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Times are hard.
Phil Donahue looked like he was at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum yesterday
know.
talking to Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Bert started crying over Dinah Shore. The sensitive Bert. He didn't quite cry, but he looked like he was gonna.
He looked like he was really trying to work up some tears,
He
didn't he?
was. But he's such a bad actor. He couldn't cry on
I'm trying
camera.
to make myself cry on cue, and it's not working.
She classy lady, classy lady. Classy.
Classy lady. Every minute, classy lady.
They buried my hair with Dinah.
And then some woman said, Bert, you look very sad. He goes, well, I haven't recovered from that Dinah Shore clip.
Right.
That Phil
Yeah.
showed. Yeah, okay. So Mr. Sentimental.
She was so wonderful, I left her.
Yeah. I should have married her. Yeah. 100 years old.
I never knew her age, but I got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I guessed. I counted the rings around her
I
head.
didn't have to know.
Dinah's such a great lady. Why
I
is
knew
she so great? Because she could sing?
No, she took him in.
What is it?
Look in that mess.
Do you want to talk to the guy that you went to high school with, that guy Dennis? And he remembers Irvin and remembers his last name, remembers how big he was and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, verification.
Well, actually, it's just funny because Irvin had a very funny last name.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to announce his name on the air.
Why not? What
Because
did
you don't want to.
All right.
It's just a funny name.
Hey, Dennis, don't announce Irvin's name, but
Who is Dennis? by
Dennis
the way?
Accavelli was the one white guy I told you that was
Oh,
left.
okay.
He graduated.
doing?
Yeah, his parents were real
See?
poor.
You left him there.
Dennis is a nice guy. I don't know why we didn't hang out more, try to... Yeah, I don't know. Dennis was very bright in school, very intelligent.
So he couldn't hang around with you.
I don't know, but he never hung around. Even though we were one of the few white people left, it was very funny what happened to the white
But
people.
I thought you were like the valedictorian of this school.
But Dennis would have been.
No. Well, it wasn't safe to walk from my house to Howard's house.
It wasn't?
No.
No, it really wasn't, because Dennis lived on the other side of town.
You two were in pockets.
Roosevelt was only 1 square mile where I grew up, but if you walked, he would have to walk 7 or 8 blocks. No more,
How
maybe
did
15
this happen?
blocks.
Because it was a white neighborhood.
It was a
and
white
then, like, overnight, these
Literally.
hoodlums moved in?
Yeah, well, what happened was a couple of black families moved in. And what it is, the realtors would decide what neighborhoods would get black families.
Yeah, they target.
Yeah, so a couple of black people moved in, and everyone panicked. Everyone said, well, wait a second. If black people move next door to me, I better sell my house quick So everyone started selling to blacks.
Uh-huh.
And overnight, I mean, literally, it was like you could knock on someone's door and they would move out in the middle of the night.
You're telling me these people were homeowners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Oh, you mean the people who moved in? No.
Okay.
Let me tell you what happened.
They got assistance, like.
They got assistance, and 5 families would move into one house. It would be welfare. Because everyone would go, your mama's on welfare.
You
And they
were
go, yeah.
essentially living in the projects.
Yeah, this was worse than projects. Because there were 5 families.
Level projects.
Dennis, I don't know if you ever saw this, but one time there was a bunch of kids playing baseball. There was 9 guys on each side, on each team. Someone yells out dinner. Every kid, 18 kids piled into one house. And these are little houses.
Went to a house.
Yeah.
Hey, Howard, I played football with Ronald Nipper.
Did you?
Yeah. He was our halfback for Roosevelt.
So you were a pretty big guy then.
Well, I don't know, wasn't that big. But
No, Dennis isn't that big.
Yeah.
But Dennis,
did you get beat up all the time?
I didn't get beat up that much, no. No, although I did, when Howard was talking about guys being fast, my mother made me go to school the day after Martin Luther King was shot.
Yeah, me too.
I was walking down the hall, and all of a sudden, just some guy just comes by and just, hits me in the eye, and I didn't even know it. It happened so fast.
Yeah, we were the bad whites for living in Roosevelt. I saw the guys, I used to pray. There was an all-white town next to Roosevelt called Merrick.
Right.
Lily White. I said, boy, black people are always screaming, why don't white men live with the black man? Why is the white man afraid of black skin? I said, me and Dennis, the only 2 guys living with black people, they're beating the crap out of us. Why can't they all get together, go over to Merrick and beat up all the whiteys over there who moved away from them? I used to fantasize. I never understood it. But listen, these were just dopey kids.
That would have shown them that they were wrong to move.
Right.
Bad situation.
Yeah, why would you beat up the one white guy who's willing to live with you? Yeah, my mom...
Why didn't you get beat up as much as Howard? That's what I got to know.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I played football and...
So you know how to handle yourself.
Yeah.
There was something about Howard.
People do like to beat... Even white people like to beat me up.
You either had to be crazy or know crazy people,
Right.
And I think some people, I knew some crazy people, so people stay away from you if you.
Dennis, though, you got to see Dennis. Dennis is one of those guys. Doesn't look like you should mess around with him. It's not that he's tough looking.
Well,
or anything.
that's what I'm saying, Howard. You sort of had this indication that you were easy pickings.
I don't know what it was.
I don't know either.
But I had guys taking full giant metal baskets and throwing them at my shoulders and head.
That you were going to hurt them back.
Hey, Howard, I also remember shop class. That was wild. Do you remember the shop teacher's name?
What was his name?
Mr. Anthony.
Yeah, Mr. Anthony.
Yeah.
That's the guy who stood by while I got my ass
Where
kicked.
is Mr. Anthony? We should call him up for that.
The keys to the bathroom on this big wooden block.
And he'd throw it at you.
Yeah, he used to throw it like you would be
throw it at your head.
Oh, he was vicious too.
At your head, and people would get hit. And no one would report them to their to their mothers. And
it was different. But you know what? Because that wasn't so bad getting hit by your shop teacher when you're getting beat up by black guys.
He also used to walk around, with that T-square. He used to walk around with the T-square, and if he'd come up from behind you, and if you were
and
talking
smack
to
you,
stuff, and he'd whack you with it.
So he did control the class.
Oh well, not really.
He was just doing that because he was sadistic, I think.
Well, he should work at the vault.
You have a place for him.
Your mom's made you go to school too after Martin Luther King was shot. My mother too. I said to my mother, well, maybe I ought to stay home.
Shoot him.
Oh man. My mother's black friends were calling her saying, Ray, leave Howard home today. Let it rest for a couple of days. My mother goes, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I go, oh, she's not afraid. Isn't that brave of her?
She's not going.
She's not going to school. She's going to sit in the house. My mom is sending me the day after Martin Luther King got shot. Every black guy is ready to kill any white thing he sees.
Yeah, the school was in an uproar. It was like crazy.
I don't know about you, man, but I took my ass right out of school at 3 o'clock and ran.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But did you get hit that day? You said you got beat up.
Did I get beat up that day? I don't think I got beat up that day. It might have been a day later. Dennis took the beating that day in the eye.
It wasn't safe. For the next 2 weeks, it really wasn't safe.
Wasn't there a math teacher too that got stabbed? Do you remember that? The math teacher who got stabbed in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Lots a lot of fun stuff. Great community.
What do you do now, Dennis?
I'm a computer consultant.
He's a real smart guy.
See, you could get a good education there.
Me and him. He was one of those guys who was always in the smartest class, even when it was all white, because we grew up together. We were at the school when it was all white.
Yeah.
And I remember he was in Mrs. Lazar's 6th grade class, which was considered the genius class, and they accidentally put me in it. I don't know. Remember I got in your class?
Yeah.
Remember I didn't know anything? And I just sit there and cheat off you?
Oh, dear.
And one time, I used to sit behind Dennis Accavelli. And one time, I made a joke about Dunkin' Donuts, and I started schnotting through my nose. Do you remember this, Dennis?
Sure.
And The snot was running out of my nose so bad that Mrs. Lazar came over and stood me up in front of the class with the snot dripping out of my nose. He goes, Mr. Stern is in need of a tissue. He obviously finds something funny. Do you remember this, Dennis?
Yeah.
He's got to, because it was a highlight of my life. Big wads of snot just dripping out of my nose.
Man.
Oh, man.
That was funny.
Had to wipe on Dennis's shirt. No, but the teacher, this was such a smart class. What happened was, in 5th grade, I really got into reading.
This was the smart class you did this in, huh?
In 5th grade, I really got into reading. I had really discovered the joy of reading. And when I discovered the joy of something, I get into it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm on to the next thing.
It's just like your new thing.
So I read so much.
Yes.
That they tested, it was it just coincided with the time they tested you. They test you once a year, and my reading score shot through the roof, like a comprehension, all that stuff. So I said, this kid is so bright, even though he doesn't do well in school. We're putting him in Mrs. Lazar's class,
and that was a big accomplishment to be in.
Yeah, I mean, and people were like angry that I was in Mrs. Lazar's class because I didn't belong in there. I knew I didn't belong in there, and you were all on the honor system. She'd even put the desks together in 4s.
So there was no monitoring.
And I cheated my ass off. I cheated off Dennis Accavelli every day. He got me through 6th grade. I would have flunked out.
You know, when I was in over in high school, like in homeroom, no one would ever want to like sit near me. Like everybody was running around homeroom and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
because you were white,
like,
right?
You know, when they gave like midterms and finals and stuff, everybody had to sit in their homeroom seat. Everybody would try and sit near me so they could cheat off me.
Right.
Then you were popular.
And you better let those guys cheat off you.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to.
Hey, Howard, did you mention your shop teacher's name on the air?
Yeah.
Because this guy called, said, he went to Roosevelt around the same time that you did. He didn't know you or anything, but he swears on a stack of Bibles that he sees the shop teacher every morning and that the guy's a Jehovah's Witness now. He sees him at a train station handing out pamphlets.
Wow, no kidding.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's great. Yeah. That was some place.
Yeah.
You don't live in Roosevelt anymore, I take it.
No, not anymore. No. I live in Port Washington now.
Oh, that's a nice community. Nice and calm.
Straight to the North Shore.
Are your parents out of Roosevelt?
Yeah. We talked a couple years ago. My mother's in Bethpage now.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah.
When did you finally get out?
Oh, I don't know. I moved out. I was living home. I moved out about when I was 25 years old.
But they were still in Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, still in Roosevelt. Yeah.
Dennis was, and he lived in a giant white house. Right, Dennis?
Yeah.
Bigger than anyone's house.
Yeah. We sold that. You know what it is now? It's like a halfway house for alcoholics and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like, yeah, there's a big white house, so that,
it's an institution.
It's
an institution.
People living in it.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't remain friends, though, when we were under the Black Siege. I don't know why we didn't band together, but I guess it was every man for himself. It was divide and conquer.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We like everybody just kind of like split apart. Like,
yeah, I always liked you.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I heard that we were going to have a reunion or something.
Maybe you are. I'm not. You go back.
A reunion of what?
I'll tell you something, Dennis. I refuse. My wife wants to see where I grew up. She thinks it's like a thing, and I take her and I drive her. I drive her to Rockville Center, and I go, "Oh, that's where I grew up." She goes, "It's not so bad here. Why are you complaining?" I go, "I know it's not so bad." She still thinks she's seen Roosevelt. I just drive her around different neighborhoods.
Do you really think that you would have like pains or something?
Yes, I know. I would go into a flashback. It's like if you brought a guy back from Vietnam who had been sprayed with Agent Orange.
But you know what, Howard? Robin's right. The time really has come, and you should do this even for the E! Show. We should take Robin to Roosevelt.
No.
I really want to see.
I'm not going.
Can I take her?
I will not go.
I would love to see the inside of these schools.
I would vomit.
Oh, Howard,
I would
come
vomit.
on.
I hated it there.
You know you got to get
I
over
would have
this.
the shakes.
This is not good that you still have this.
You know,
and it's
whenever I'm
time
on
to
the
go
Southern
back.
State
Dennis, you ever go back there?
Huh?
You ever go back?
No.
Yeah,
I went back. I passed by one time. I passed through the town, like real
60.
quick.
Yeah, I wouldn't go through
I didn't
there.
even stop for the lights on
You got to
the
understand something. This is like going to... This is like, okay.
If I
you
can
were,
go home, you can go back to this.
remember on
school.
Tarzan? Wait a second. You remember on Tarzan? When Tarzan would encounter a tribe that just hated any outsiders? It didn't matter. And they just attacked. They came running through the jungle and attacked
even
them.
Tarzan would have trouble with those
Even
people.
Tarzan would have to, like, he'd be screaming for animals and animals wouldn't come. He'd be like, oh.
And the elephants would turn and go the other way.
And there's no animals, nothing. That's what this is like.
The lions didn't come.
You don't know what's going to happen to you. It's just a wild party.
Hey, you know, every time I'm on the Southern State Parkway with my wife, I threaten to take her through Roosevelt.
Yo, yeah, me too. I go by the exit and I speed up past the exit.
Is there an exit that says
Yes,
Roosevelt?
it's exit 20 on the Southern State Parkway, and I go by it and I go.
21.
Yeah, exit 21, and I say to my my wife sometimes, I go, oh God, if we even broke down. She goes, broke down in front of the exit, you'd be nervous? I go, yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know what could happen.
And, you know, it's funny because to get to Uniondale, it's the same exit, but you go left, and whenever you tell anyone to come visit you, so whatever you do, don't make a right.
Yeah, because you might not come back.
You'll never see your friends again.
It's really that bad. And that was 20 years ago. It was bad. Imagine what it's like now.
Forget about it, I
20
guess.
years, I wouldn't know what it was.
Anybody who grew up there would not go back.
But don't you?
I would sooner run around naked in Harlem.
Aren't you curious, though, Howard?
No curiosity whatsoever.
Oh, come on.
Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it.
You
Don't want to see the house I grew up in.
You think your house is still there?
Oh, I know it is because I have the E-Crew go down there and shoot it so I can see what it looks like.
What's going on? Do you know who's in there?
No, don't want to know. I know it's painted yellow, a really strange color.
Checks cashed.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. It makes being a lost tourist in Florida a joyride. Honest to God, I'd rather put up with that. It's bad, man. Well, Dennis knows. He went through the war. We're like, you know what? We ought to get together and drink, like two Vietnam vets.
And tell stories.
Yeah, because no one else understands us.
Lay out your medals.
Like little black berets and stuff.
Yeah, just sit there.
Berets, we survived.
Yeah, go down to like a VW hall.
The big one.
Yeah, I tell you, man. Remember that guy who used to kick our ass? And
So
tell
Irvin
Robin
was
that guy
pretty
Irvin.
big, huh?
Irvin was really big, wasn't he?
Irvin was a big guy.
And wasn't he like a man? It was like men
Did he have
beating
like
up
the
boys.
shave and stuff?
Yeah, oh yeah. There was like a lot of guys in school like that.
Yeah. They were older than us.
At least they looked old. I mean, they could have been the same age, but they looked like they were 25 years old.
My friend, these guys were not our age. These were guys who came from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and had not gone to school for 12 years, and they just threw them in a school.
You never have to prove how old you are in school.
No, it was not a fair fight. All right, Dennis, I'm getting the shakes just talking to you.
Howard, could you put Dennis on hold? I want to talk to
okay.
him.
Hold on, Dennis.
Okay, take it easy.
All right, man. Another survivor.
Well, see, nothing bad happened. You survived.
It's like Auschwitz survivors getting together. Why us? Why were we the two that survived?
They're still shaking.
What about the others?
I've got 6 numbers on my arm.
Yeah, right. I should have tattoos.
Something to show that you were there.
Yeah. I'm very embarrassed, Robin. I'm going to show you my tattoo.
Keep it covered at all times.
Yeah. I think a concentration camp was a party compared to Roosevelt.
Now you're getting really crazy. There was no gas chamber at the end of the hall.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's take a break and do the news. This is ridiculous.
Enough of your silliness.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of Roosevelt.
I didn't know Dennis Accavelli would call it.
You really ought to go back. Just to see, it's just
You
like
go and check it out.
off a horse, Howard.
Yeah.
You got to get back on.
As I say to my wife, there is no reason to go back. In fact, when my father pulled the car away from Roosevelt that day, I never looked back.
That was it. You've never stepped foot in there again.
I wouldn't allow my father to put his foot on the brakes because I thought it was going to be like a movie. Just as you're getting out, somebody
drag you back in?
Yeah. And we got out, and I just sat there, and I said, ooh, there's a new Italian restaurant in Rockville Center where we're moving. And I was just so excited. So excited.
I got to go check. I've never seen Roosevelt. I really got to go check this out.
To me, it's vanished. Like that city in the Superman episode that completely vanished.
Right,
and they put it in a bottle.
Yeah.
Fortress of Solitude it now sits. Whole city gone. Let's just take a break and do the news right after these words.